views or 500 views because your product is costing $1,000. You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is just my opinion. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve as a filmmaker, right? I mean, there are many filmmakers who use YouTube simply as a promotional tool. You know, John Chu was one of the director of G.I. Joe and Justin Bieber stuff. He's one of the early sort of pioneers on YouTube in filmmaking, and now he's directing these huge, 9-figure budget films. I hope this doesn't sound reductive. Film is actually the genre of choice for me. It's the genre that moves me most and that I love most. And when I think about film, more than any other genre, I think about beauty and I think about artistry. And in terms of what I would recommend then on YouTube as to what you should do is you should focus on that beautiful storytelling. I wouldn't recommend that you have an annotation and follow a 3-second rule and have a cat every 5 seconds. And in my opinion, in my mind, like jeopardizes the integrity of that art that is film, right? But again, it goes back to what your goals are. As Kevin, many others, get people's names wrong all the time.
Just call me Kevin.
As Alex was saying. I don't know where I got Kevin. As Alex was saying, I think it's because you mentioned our trends manager, and Kevin is his name. But anyway, so as Alex was saying, it depends on what your goal is, right? Is it promotional? Are you here for the artistry? And if we are, cliche, and you believe that, do thine own self be true, and that will sort of yield positive results, then you should maintain the integrity of your art, whether you're on YouTube or another platform.
You know that feeling when you're editing a video, and you're like, and you're making each cut, and you're like, that's the right cut, and this is, and now this thing's now got some momentum, and as you're cutting and editing, and going from the, the first, cut of the whole piece, and making it more fun. The goal is this fun, or not fun, or is it a good story, or whatever it is you're trying to create? Are you producing? Then you can worry about the other stuff. But also, if you're trying to architect, architect the annotations into your video to build up your YouTube audience, you can put that in there as well. It all depends on what your goal ultimately is. I mean, I can only speak for the B2B audience because that's, what I deal with mostly. Sometimes the goal is get a video with that guy or that woman. Just get them on camera with our microphone in the face, with the mic flag on there. We want that video. That's the goal. And that may be it. Or it may be, when this video is produced, we want to get it on this association's website. And if that's because it'll be in front of these people, that may be the goal too. So, there's so many variables we're talking about here. But I then, later what being said is, when you're sitting there and you're cutting, you're editing that video, are you enjoying it for what it is in terms of the story, in terms of entertainment or whatever, or the point you're trying to get through? That's the most important thing first and foremost.
I would add, but I guess I completely agree with John. No.
To be fair, I mentioned John several times. This is how it happens.
Yeah. Anyway, but one thing I would say for us, like when we have clients come in, so a new thing that just came out this year is Billboard Top 100 for songs actually counts YouTube views as part of its ranking. And it's so there is actually a number of YouTube views that translates into a digital download, which then ranks your song. So now when a client comes to us with a good budget, they say, hey, we're gonna release this music video and so on, and they have a budget, to promote it across different platforms, have it featured on Spotify and everything. And one of the things I want to do is make sure that it's popular on YouTube, because YouTube is now becoming a de facto platform for discovering new celebrities, especially in the music industry. We actually have a number that we know we can charge them what it's going to cost us to get this person into Billboard Top 10. Like that week, or whatever, because we realize that the number of views we're going to get on YouTube that week is going to translate into digital downloads, which are then counted alongside other metrics into that ranking. So there are what I love about the platform is now it's become so powerful that it's now affecting, how the music is being ranked, how the movies is going to be watched, and a lot of different things. And so for my company, the exciting part is like kind of being part of this change, and enabling our clients to kind of take reins of that and be able kind of to control this process.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Great. And our last question.
Yeah, I got 3 quick questions. One is, so you mentioned Vimeo and Flip TV. If I'm producing content video, I'm putting so much effort, can I submit them to put them on Vimeo, and can I duplicate content? Is there anything saying, you know, that's bad. And then another question is for YouTube. It's like, what is YouTube's big like vision? What are they trying to do in the next 5 years? Because I have a Google TV device and I watch YouTube videos, but it's so painful, first of all, to navigate with that keyboard. But secondly, like is it trying to replace my TV? So should I like do programming like you do in traditional TV? And then another question is from a user, like when I try to search content, you know, let's say, you know, I'm searching technical stuff, how to make an iPhone app or something. I'll get high quality production quality video of somebody recording in a studio, and I'll get somebody's screencast. So finding good quality content is really hard. How do you solve that problem so I can, you know, if I'm making good stuff, I show up?
Can you clarify the last 20 seconds of what you said?
So,
I did, I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
A lot of people complain about YouTube is that everybody's putting the same kind of stuff, right? Like if you're searching for those keywords, you'll get like 10, 20 results and similar answers, but different quality of video production. So how does one know that, okay, I should click this one versus this, you know, this is better quality video and the audio is bad in this one?
Let me answer the last question first, then we'll start with the first and then go to the second. So, with regards to the last, our search algorithms are incredibly robust, and they, again, are not based on what we as a platform curate because of our platform. They're based on what the fans have decided they'd like to engage with, and that's based on everything from viewership to actual engagement, or what we call watch time. So in other words, like how much of the video that someone watches, and then consequently how many other videos they watch. So in terms of what you're seeing and how do you know as a consumer what to click on, again, this is where sort of quality is in the eye of the beholder. It is up to the community to decide what is actually going to be voted up, as it were. Your first question about sort of exclusivity on platforms. I can't speak for other platforms, but YouTube is a non-exclusive platform, which is to say you can absolutely upload your content to our platform and elsewhere. And you know, this may sound a bit contrived, but we do mean it. As a company, we care very much about fairness and openness. And so, if as a creator, whether you're here as an advertiser or as a musician or whoever, if it behooves you to be on several different platforms, that is a good thing. We want that success for you, and that's why we have that non-exclusive arrangement. So you can absolutely upload elsewhere.
Well, I have a question for you, Big, about that. Is if a person uploads the same content, just text-based content, on multiple websites, Google will actually start damaging some of the sites. As you know, some of them will be seen as spam sites. So
I'm not familiar with that.
well,
I'm genuinely not familiar.
You're
That was not
but so my question is, could the same thing happen if you have the same? My guess is probably retitle it differently. If you have the same video on multiple sites with the same title, but you don't know about that.
I'm not an expert there. What I would say is if you go to youtube.com, the videos that you will find are from youtube.com.
Yeah, I mean, we used to create content. We did a web series on Blip, and we re-syndicated it to YouTube and Vimeo, and it was like one click. So as far as I know, you can republish to various platforms.
And without being damaged, they all have the same title, all those videos?
Yeah, it was the exact same video, same title, same everything.
To your second question about YouTube vision. So I would say three things at a high level, right? The first thing, and some of these are going to sound fairly broad, but I'm sure you can appreciate why they have to be broad. The first thing that we want to make sure is that we are a place that is enjoyable and engaging for all consumers worldwide, all sorts of fans, right? Especially for Generation C. And what that means is we want to be viewable very easily on effectively any device. We're actually already enabled on several different TVs, whether it's through a game console like Xbox or a smart TV like Google TV, or that's powered by Google TV, right? We want you to be
It doesn't work on Roku.
I will send that feedback to the product team. I unfortunately don't work on Google TV. Or a mobile phone, right? So for fans, we want it to be a very engaging, fun experience, very consistent across the platforms. For advertisers, so too. We want to make sure that they can find the fans that they really want to find, whether it's for brand building or transactions, as meaningfully as possible. We also want to help brands start to think of themselves as content creators and not just as advertisers. One of the best examples that I've seen very recently, actually this week, of that was the recent Dove commercial. Who saw the Dove True Beauty commercial? Fantastic, it was beautiful. So the premise was they were basically having certain ladies come in and articulate how they thought they looked. And then they had others articulate how they thought they looked. And effectively the message was, we think that we are less than we actually are. It's a beautiful video. It is more content than it is ad. And so that's something that you'll start to see evolve over time. Red Bull, which has done a fantastic job with their products, is also another great canonical example of this. Their ads are incredible, their content. And then the final thing, which is admittedly the group I care most about, is the creators. This is my world, right? My job in particular is to make sure that everyone around the world, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, whether you have a webcam or a Canon 5D Mark II or a Mark III now, no matter who you are, that you're able to become a superstar, whatever that means to you. If that means being on a stage and being an incredible musician to sold out shows around the world, then so be it. If it means being a filmmaker that gets into Sundance because we help power that, by all means make that happen, right? So that's the type of thing, and sort of a very high level, how we're thinking about our three different groups on the platform.
My particular question was kind of towards, like, YouTube. You think like in next 10 years, people will still be watching TV, or everybody will just be consuming content on YouTube and similar sites? Because there are so many ads, and then the ads are longer on TV, but a lot of people don't have TVs no more. So like,
I think the people will watch what they want.
Great, thank you. I want to thank our panel, and I want to thank you, the audience, for giving us your time on a Friday evening for what was a real stimulating and informative conversation. And before we leave, I just want to turn it back over to Richard for